Rotating car seats are amazing, and while they've been offered in other countries for longer, it's only recently that we've seen them pop up here in the States in the last couple years or so. So in this video, we're going to talk about why you might want to consider getting a rotating car seat and dive into some of my favorite options that you should definitely consider. Now, when I first saw car seats like this, I kind of thought it was pretty much pointless, that it was solving a problem that didn't really need to be solved. But after actually using rotating car seats, it's an absolute game changer. It's a lot easier to get your kids in and out of rear facing seats without having to, awkwardly turn your back and fight these squirmy littles at odd angles. Rotating car seats offer the ability to orient the car seat so that it's able to face outside of the door rather than remaining fixed and aimed toward the rear. Having the seat simply face you makes it 100 times easier to get your kids settled and buckled properly before turning the car seat and then locking it into place. Now, with that said, here are some of my favorites that you should definitely check out. And first is going to be the one that we've used the most, and that's the Baby Jogger City Turn. Now, the main feature here is how you're able to turn the seat 180 degrees to make for easier buckling and ensuring that your kids are seated properly. Once your tile is buckled, you swivel it back into place. There's this audible clicking sound that you can hear, which means that it's been locked into place. But what's unique about this one is it actually pushes the seat out a little bit closer toward you compared to others that just simply rotate. Now, that is convenient, but you might not be able to close your door all the way if the car seat is turned out. So you're gonna have to lock it back into place so that you can still close your door. It took me some getting used to because I'm just accustomed to getting my kiddo out and just closing the door and walking away. With this seat, like, you can't just leave it rotated and try to close your door. The door, especially with our Honda Odyssey van, the sliding door kind of clips the seat, so we have to rotate it back in. It's an additional step before we close the door and go on about our day. Just a small thing to note. Now, for this seat in rear facing mode, it can hold kids up to 50 pounds, and then the weight limit goes up in forward facing mode to about 65 pounds. The one thing that you do have to remember with, I would say, most rotating seats is that they don't really rotate when forward facing. This is only a feature that's going to be available to you when it's rear facing for it to rotate. There are a couple exceptions, one we'll get into, but keep that in mind. Now, I talk about this a lot in our course for new dads, which you can find linked below, but the safest seat is ultimately going to be the one that is installed properly. I'm much more in favor of brands that make the installation process as simple and as straightforward as possible. This is why I've always been a fan of the Britax Click Tight system. But with the City Turn, their Rapid Lock system also makes for a simple and secure install with that push button latch. Really happy with it. You should be able to get it pretty quickly. Now, one last note when rotating, there have been a few moments where, I'm rotating really fast. I'm just going about my day and my finger feels like it kind of like clips or like rolls onto the seat base. It's kind of scary. It only pinched just a quick little bit. It's not really a design flaw. I chalk that up more to user error on my end, but just wanting to know all these little small experiential things. So that's a quick rundown of the Baby Jogger City Turn. We're using it right now as our primary option, and I would definitely recommend you check it out more than any other car seat in this video. Now, naturally, when you're watching these kinds of videos, you're going to be asking, but what's the best car seat, right? What's the safest car seat? All the options that I'm talking about, they all pass the same safety standards. Some have enhanced impact protection features. Some have more plush seating, right? Some have extended rear facing features. Ultimately, like I just mentioned, the one that is going to be safest is the one that is installed properly, right? Unfortunately, there's not really gonna be like a best car seat, right? No one's gonna be able to definitively tell you what the best car seat is for you, because that's entirely dependent on what kind of car that you have. Do you have inflatable seat belts? What are your seating configurations and seat dimensions, right? There's a lot that goes into buying the best car seat. I'm gonna highlight more options in a second, but if you want like a real detailed walkthrough on what to buy, the best option is to go to Michelle at Safe in the Seat. Her stuff is linked below. I've had her on this channel before. She is my car seat guru. Okay, you're going to be able to see major breakdowns of multiple car seats, including the City Turn, which we just mentioned. Her Safe in the Seat course is listed in the description of this video. I would really recommend you check that out if you really want a detailed walkthrough based off of what car you're driving, right? Now, next on the list is going to be the Maxi-Cosi Emme 360. This is going to be offered at a very similar price point to another well-known option, which is the Graco Turn2Me. I'm going to quickly graze over that one later, but for now, I wanted to highlight the Emme 360 because I actually get asked about it a lot. So visually, it's probably kind of like the sleekest in my opinion. I would say it's much more plush compared to other options. It's got a magnetic chest clip, unique cup holders that can accommodate sippy cups with or without handles by just simply rotating it. Really cool features there. The main differentiators are going to be the rotation and the install. If you're able to nail the install, the seat is great, obviously. But I would say that like my biggest gripes with this is that the install is a little bit harder to get compared to others. And thinking about it, like harder isn't the right way to put it. I would say it's more just a little bit more awkward, right? For the install, the seat pretty much has to come off before you proceed with the install. And just the way you go about it isn't the most user-friendly. And I had to hop on YouTube for a little bit of extra guidance. You know, the seat is still kind of like tethered to the base as you're going about the install. So, I mean, hard, again, not necessarily, but just a little bit more awkward, I would say. Particularly with my first go, a little bit tough, but now that I've got it, I've got it. Now, comparing it to Baby Jogger, I like the turn mechanism a little bit more with the City Turn, as the lever is on the seat instead of the base. Personally, I just find that a little bit more convenient. That's a pretty subjective thing though. As the name implies, now this is the big differentiator, this can rotate a full 360 degrees from rear facing all the way to forward facing in a single motion. That's not something that you're going to be finding like almost with any other rotating car seat. So pretty cool. Not completely necessary. One major note though is the actual experience of rotating the car seat compared to others is a little bit stickier, a little bit harder. Now up to this point, we've covered off on 2 convertible car seats, but what about infant car seats? For that, I'm going to kick it over to my podcast co-host, Ben.
Now, if you guys are considering another option for a rotating infant seat, one that we've been testing over the last month or two is the Cybex Aton G Swivel. Now, this seat has been impressive at every stop. From the soft touch materials to the build quality, this has been a joy to use. And the real party piece of this seat is its 180-degree swiveling base, which can be released with just one hand and makes getting your kid in and out of the seat incredibly easy. But if you do want to take the seat out and take it with you, this is also Cybex's lightest seat, coming in at only 9 pounds, and that's thanks to some of its laser cut perforations and its molded shell. Now, let's not forget about safety. This also includes some side impact kinetic pods, which will keep your baby safer in a side impact collision. Now, the seat also features an 11-position adjustable headrest, meaning you can get just the right fit for your baby. There's also a one-handed glide recline, meaning you can get the seat in the right position for your baby's size and weight. And if you do decide to take the seat with you traveling and don't want to take the base, it also features a European belt path, meaning the seat itself can be used without using a base.
That was Ben. If you want more of him, you can always check out the Dadverb podcast, which we host every week together. Moving on, the last option that I quickly want to mention is the Graco Turn2Me. And that's mostly because it's more than likely going to be the one that's most readily available to you guys, whether that's through Amazon, Walmart, Target, right? If you want to see it right now, you can get it. This is a really, really good rotating option. In fact, I would probably put it one level above the Maxi-Cosi Emme 360. Their rotating seat, comparable price, good option. Now, if I had to pick, the City Turn definitely does have my heart. That would be my top recommendation, but I would definitely recommend you check out Safe in the Seat from Michelle, like I mentioned earlier, for detailed guidance based on the car that you have. If you have any questions or thoughts to help other parents with their buying decision, share them down in the comments. Consider subscribing for more parenting tips here on Dadverb, and thank you for watching this video. We'll catch you later. Peace.